Hey guys, it's Kayla McDonald here, and I'm very excited on this week's office hours to be talking about email marketing. And this week's focus is going to be on pumping value into your emails. And what this is going to do is it's going to better engage your subscribers. And more importantly, what it's going to do is actually get them to start actively seeking out your emails and building that relationship with them. So I'm here with my good friend Debbie, who is in charge of our content creation. And then I obviously do copywriting and whatnot. So, hey Debbie, how's it going?
Hey Kayla, I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, share our email marketing wisdom with everyone.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the lifeline of most people's businesses, and it's really important to keep that interaction up. So that's what we're going to be kind of focusing on today.
Awesome. So, just like an off-topic question, well, on topic, but how many times have you heard the money is in the list, Debbie? Just a rough estimate,
Probably like 500 million since I've been online.
right? I feel like that has been, pounded into everybody's list, and it's a super, like I said, I feel like a broken record every single time I say that to people, but it's true. There is a lot of money in your list, and in order to get the money out of your list, you have to make sure that you have a good relationship with them. So that's what we're covering today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the psychological secret it's going to get your foot in the door to start closing more sales with your list. I'm also going to go through the two-rule technique for training your list to actually actively seek out your emails and start opening them more. And it's not necessarily gonna take the heat off of you and the content that you put in, but it's gonna make your life a heck of a lot easier when people are they see your name and they want to open your emails. So we're gonna show you the technique for implementing that. And then we're also gonna go through the three-step system that we actually use when we create our email sequences. And I'm actually going to give you guys the outline that I've created for creating a 5 email sequence that basically takes your customer start to finish, um, bringing them through an offer while doing the pitch in a lot more subtle way. That way, again, you're better engaging them, and you're going to get a better response rate overall. So I guess we'll dive right in. Are you ready, Debbie?
Yeah, one thing I want to kind of just point out before we officially get started with this is that, it doesn't matter if you have 20,000 people on your list or 200 people on your list. All these things that we're going to be talking about apply. And so the size really doesn't matter in this case because you can do really, really well with a list that isn't as big as you might have, you might have goals that you're growing your list to, but if you have a tiny list, you can still be very successful. So that's why this stuff is really, really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. And then, I mean, like you said, even if you have a big list, it's useless if you're not using techniques like this to actually engage them. So, regardless of your list size, this is definitely some important stuff. So, we'll dive right in, and we're going to start with a cutesy little picture for you guys. So, how do you get the foot in the door with your customers? So you guys have probably heard the foot in door technique, which is basically you offer something small, and that leads into making it a lot easier when you ask for something bigger. So in this little cartoon here, it basically depicts your little orange guy asking right away for something, and obviously not getting the result that he wants, whereas in the second scenario, he engages his little purple friend there a little bit better, and then he has a much better result. So this, I think, really illustrates, I know it's such a silly little cartoon, but it really illustrates the need to engage with your prospects. So like I said, your little orange guy here has a lot greater success when he converses and actually engages his purple friend to get the result that he wants. So this is the exact same effect that we're going to try to achieve in writing your emails and putting more value into them. And I mean, the other thing that you want to think about too is that people are naturally very skeptical once they're being sold to. I'm sure many times in your life you've walked into a store and you immediately get your back up when you feel that the salesperson is coming on too strong. And again, that's what's really illustrated very well in this little graphic here is, as soon as the purple guy feels like he's asking for something, he runs away. Whereas when he feels like he was engaged a little bit more, he's going to actually react to what's being asked of him. So that's what we're trying to achieve here today. So we're going to show you how to engage your subscriber inside your email copy, and that's going to increase the likelihood that they're actually going to become a customer of yours. So moving right along. So what is the psychological secret behind email marketing? Pretty simple. Reciprocity. So it's basically, I mean, to sum it up in a nutshell, it's that idea of you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And I mean, it feeds on the idea that it's our natural instinct to reward a positive action with another positive action. So, for example, it's the same feeling that we get when somebody close to us or a stranger even does a favor for us. We feel the need to do something back. So if someone takes us out and they pay for dinner, you feel obliged to go back and pay for their dinner the next time. So that's basically what the law of reciprocity is. We're inclined to reward positive actions with positive actions from ourselves. And if we don't reciprocate, the consequence is that we risk social consequences. So, such as the stigma of being ungrateful, which obviously, I mean, we say it loosely because I'm sure we've all run into some jerks in our lives who don't obviously run by the law of reciprocity, but as a whole, this is generally how people feel, and in order to avoid any social stigmas, they will react in a positive manner back. So that's the underlying psychology behind why putting a lot of value into your email marketing is so effective. So how do we put this into our email marketing and how do we make it work? Basically, what you want to do is actually provide real value to your customers. And we don't mean skimming across the top and giving them only a little tidbit to try to tease them. We're actually talking about providing real value. So for an example, that could be something about it could be a bonus product if you have it, something that you give away for free. It can also just be information or sharing a story or something. It can just be providing value to their life in general. You don't actually have to physically give something away in order to provide value because, even life experience and stories and stuff can be very valuable to people in emails. So that's a very effective way to feel like you've actually, I guess the point that we're trying to make, and I don't know if this makes sense, Debbie, to you as well, but when you open up an email, you want to feel like you didn't waste your time, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm reading emails and when I'm actually writing emails as well, I think that the feeling that I want to feel is like being relatable, right? I want to tell stories, like you said, tell stories that people can be like, yeah, I mean, I understand that, or I've been in that situation. Like, that's how people, I feel, respond a lot when you're not just talking about random things, but you're actually talking about the topic and why that person actually got on your list in the first place. So, a lot of the things that we teach in copy and ScriptDoll and just in general and under like the Fearless brand is this number one thing of knowing your customer and knowing why that person is actually on your list to begin with. You'll be able to tell more relatable stories and that they'll be like, yeah, they actually physically shake their head. Yeah. You get somebody to do that, then they're engaged and it's about them, it's not only about you. So hopefully I answered that
Yeah, definitely.
for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just wanted to get kind of a different insight because, you never want to feel like your time is wasted, and your customers don't want to feel that way. So every time they open up an email, you want to make them feel as if it's worth their time. So even if they're not going to take advantage of an offer that you may give them later on, you want to feel like you actually care about their time, and that makes them feel valued because you never want to. I mean, it would be like if we invite you guys onto this office hours call and then we give you crappy content. Then you're going to walk away feeling like we basically just wasted an hour of your life that you could have been doing something more productive, right? So that's kind of the mindset that you always want to go into is value your customers' time as much as you would value your own by giving them actually something that they would genuinely care about. So, when I talk about giving in information, that information can, help them save money or time, or it could be something niche specific. So depending on what niche you're in, you could give them a little tip on how to get a result that they may be looking for. So if you work in weight loss, like what's an easy little exercise they could do day to day, or is there a recipe that you have that makes a really easy breakfast that's healthy for you? Little things like that. It's so simple to give people these little things, and a lot of people don't consider that, and don't consider injecting that when really it makes such a huge difference in the way that customers are actually going to respond to you. So by doing this, the result is that you're going to show your customers, number one, that you're sincerely interested in helping them to succeed. That's going to prevent them from being. It's going to build a really good, long-lasting relationship with your customers by building up that rapport, and in the long run, that's actually going to show them, how to look forward to hearing from you because they know that you have their best interest at heart. So I think that I don't know, what do you think, Debbie? I think that sums that up pretty well. I feel like we spent a lot of time on that slide.
No, but it's super important because that's like the number one thing to giving these little tips. Then the one day you give them, and the next day you give them, the next day you give them, then your subscribers are going to be awaiting the next one that you're going to give. I mean, I'm sure that everyone here has somebody that they're on their list, and you're on their list for a reason, right? Because they're not shoving crap at you, they're shoving really good stuff at you. And the more that you can do that and provide that valuable content, you're going to be that person that people can't wait to for your emails. And it's definitely not hard to do at all. And like I said, or like Kayla said, like just the one simple tip can do that. It doesn't have to be like a 500-word email that you have to write every single day to your people. So the easier the better at this
point. Definitely. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the big takeaway I want you guys to take from this is you basically want to provide value with no perceived expectation of compensation. So you just want to give your customers the expectation that they're just getting great value from you, and you could really care less. Obviously, you do care if they buy from you, but you want to give them the perception that you don't really care. You just want to help them. And in the long run, that's definitely going to offer you. So the result of doing this, you build credibility with your customer base by demonstrating your true intent is to help them out. And then this is going to, in the long run, open up their willingness to buy. It's going to build that long-term relationship. They're going to keep buying from you. That's the end goal with writing your emails with this mindset. But with anything, there's always a way that you can screw it up. So here's your disclaimer. Don't ever abuse the law of reciprocity. Customers are really good at sensing when they've been tricked or misled, and you know that yourself because we're often customers more so than we're sellers, right? So you can think about all the times you've picked up immediately when someone's really just looking for you to open up their wallet rather than actually give you something that's going to benefit you. So always keep this in the back burner as well. Don't ever think you're going to be able to fool someone because generally you're not, and that's going to very much damage the reputation that you're building for yourself as you do all this value hacking inside your email marketing. So that brings us to our 2-rule technique. So what we're going to show you guys now is actually 2 techniques that is going to help you train your customers to open your emails because what they're going to do is realize there's value there. So the first thing is pretty obvious. Always be solving a problem for them. Or make sure that if you're not doing the second option that we're going to show you in a minute, always make sure you're solving some kind of problem. Show your customers how to overcome a problem they're having, and then show them how to achieve the desired results so that they can, better perform later in whatever their desired area is. So you can help them save money. You can help them save time. Like I said, with the weight loss thing, give them a tip on nutrition or a simple exercise. Help them solve some kind of problem. Because eventually they're going to learn that every time they open up an email from you, you're going to give them stuff that they can start applying right now, regardless of whether they get it or you get any money from them. So, like I said, make sure your emails are doing this, and if they're not solving a problem, make sure they're entertaining. Be conversational in your tone. Include jokes where they're relevant. Obviously, with jokes, you have to make sure that they're appropriate for your audience, and I say that pretty loosely because that comes from you knowing your audience the best. You can also share other free content. You can share blog stories you find are good. You can share funny videos. Again, you got to use your discretion because you should know your list well enough to know what they're going to respond to and what's appropriate for them. Another big way to entertain them, because not all of us are comedians, is just to share stories. Share stories about your own experience with something, and then that's also going to follow rule number one with helping them solve a problem, because you can tell a story about how you overcame something and relate it back to them. So if your email's not solving a problem, make sure it's at least entertaining. Make sure that in some way you're providing value to their day. And if you follow these two rules, you're going to notice that overall your customers are going to get a lot better at looking forward to your emails, and your open rates are going to get a lot better as a result. Debbie, what do you think about any of this kind of stuff? Like, how do you find that you apply this when you email your own list?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, and most of you guys know, right? There's actually three types of emails, right? There's the free content emails, there's the selling emails, and then the third type is the type that, we should be aiming for all the time, is to combine them both, right? The selling and giving the free content away. So, a person just wrote in and they said, yeah, I am unsubscribing to people who don't provide value. Well, there's ways that you can provide value and still sell at the same time. And this is kind of like something that needs to be practiced more than anything, because obviously, you're not going to appeal to everyone, even if you follow these to the T, right? You're still going to get unsubscribes. It's just the nature of the game. I used to know somebody that used to get so upset when somebody would unsubscribe, and it's like, you got to just brush it off, because that person is just not right for you anyway, or maybe they'll wind up on your list again. Who knows? It usually happens sooner or later if you're a good marketer, right? So but yeah, I mean, generally, it's never going to be a perfect formula, but all these things really need, like, if you're boring in your emails, even if you have a great product that you're selling, I mean, it might still do the trick if the product does the legwork for you, but every time you write an email, you should definitely have these rules kind of embedded in your brain, because it is going to keep up the engagement, and it is going to have the people who are interested in what you're going to say really look forward to what you're sending them.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a good way to sum it up as well. We had a question, how do you create funny, entertaining emails with substance? You always make sure that you're going to include your values, so you're going to share your experiences and stories and whatever. But as far as entertainment goes, I definitely wouldn't consider myself a comedian by any means, but when I write emails, I write them based on the mood that I'm in. So I mean, I don't know if this is accurate description of myself, but I'd say I'm a pretty perky person, eh, Debbie? I don't know. But I try to inject that every time I write, and I'll write silly things that are kind of come to my mind, or my lame jokes that come to my mind, and it's all based on my mood. And a lot of people, and actually I don't want to dive in too much into this because this is something that we talked about, I think it was last week or so, about putting your personality into your writing. And that's a lot of where I draw my inspiration from, is just my own personality and being kind of goofy and not being afraid to show that as I write these emails. Because like I said, a lot of us aren't comedians. We're not trained to be funny and stuff. So just, write with some personality, and that's going to shine through in your writing. So I hope that helps kind of answer
Yeah,
that
at the end
question
of
a
the
little
day,
bit.
you can always make fun of yourself. People love that for some reason. Like, even if you hurt yourself, like, ooh, I banged my head or something like that, like, people just like that stuff for some reason. And like Kayla
Oh
said,
yeah,
like,
definitely.
even, even your goofiest moments, like, or even your mistakes, like, your mistakes are huge, because you tell people, oh my God, I screwed up. They're gonna, number one, want to know what you did to screw up, because they don't want to screw up. So those are some things that you can like incorporate in and also add a little humor twist to them as well. I mean, not every single email you write needs to be funny or about something like that. Um, but injecting that your personality more than the humor all the time, it's really ultimately your personality. Or if you don't have personality, try to get some. And that's learned as well. Because, it's just the easier you write, the lighter you write, right? The less strict you are with your writing, the better you're going to be at email marketing. Before we go on, we always talk about how like the rules of grammar don't always apply to marketing, and that's definitely, applies to email marketing and communicating with your list. It doesn't always have to be, obviously grammar is important, but not that strict grammar if you're like publishing a book or whatever. So it's easy and
Yeah, definitely. You
simple
just
and
want to
light.
be kind of, yeah, loosey goosey is the term I generally like to use,
Yeah.
but that's just me. So, all right. So moving along. So like I said, I guess the take home with this point is just to, put your personality into it. People love stories. Never underestimate how much people love a good story. So if something funny, like Debbie said, if it's, hurting yourself or you had a really good thing happen to you, even if you had a shitty thing happen to you and you learned a lesson from it, share those stories because that's the kind of stuff that engages people and really listening to you. So that's a really good place to draw inspiration from inside your emails. So moving right along. So the next thing we want to jump into with you guys is our three-step writing formula in general on how to actually create these emails. And then I'm going to give you guys a pretty easy five-step or five-email outline that you can follow to actually create emails in the format that you should follow when you're writing them. So the first step is idea generation. So what is your sequence going to be about? What exactly are you going to teach people in your sequence today? And again, this is about a 5-day email sequence that I'm going to teach you. But this stuff can be applied depending on how long you're going to offer. There's always gray areas with writing. We always talk about that. Yeah, the first thing you need to do is like what the heck are you going to talk about? One of the places that we like to, because if I'm not drawing from my own experience, sometimes I have to look elsewhere. So a lot of times I'll look to blogs that are in my niche and find some stuff that they're teaching there and apply it as my own. I'm not telling you guys to plagiarize. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you can definitely draw some inspiration and some ideas and some lessons from, like I said, from blogs within your niche. That's a really great place to generate some ideas on, what the heck you're going to talk about. So that's the first thing you want to do is just kind of lay out a general topic that you're going to talk about throughout your sequence. And again, idea generation is really good research for you. Is any blog that's specific to your niche? I'd love to give you guys specific examples because I don't know the niche that you're in, that makes it really hard for me to do. But I can say with us doing a lot of teaching a lot of businesses how to do stuff, we use sites like entrepreneur.com and stuff like that to kind of draw some inspiration for our writing. And if you're looking at other blogs and you're not looking at other places for idea inspiration, you're going to fall flat anyways. This is something that you should just be doing in general, just to kind of keep you fresh within your market and see what trends are going on and whatnot. So pull around, even when you're not email writing, it's always good to keep up on stuff like that. That's my public service announcement of the day. All right, so step 2, we want to create an outline. So this is basically the meat of it here. So before you're actually going to start writing, this is going to be your outline where you figure out how you're going to transition them between emails. So your first email, basically what you're going to do is introduce the problem, and you're going to begin by outlining the free solution. On day 1, we are not including the offer. We're not going to talk about the offer whatsoever. All you're doing is talking about the initial solution that you're going to provide them, and then we're going to finish off the email by teasing something else that you're going to teach them the following day. So this is going to actually start training your list, as you can see, to look for your emails and look to open them. So not only are we giving them good value, we're also kind of training them to start looking for our emails and open them more. And then on day 2, we're going to continue explaining our free solution to the problem. And then we're going to end that email with promise of more free information that day, or look for free information in their next email on day 3. Again, we're not including an offer on day 2. So day 1 and day 2 are just simply informational emails. This is just kind of it's that whole getting the foot in the door. So if we go back to that little cartoon I showed you guys at the beginning with our little orange friend, where he was engaging his purple friend in conversation before he actually asked him for something, that's what we're doing in emails on day 1 and 2. We're just giving them some free information, and then that way that's going to put their guard down a little bit, and it's going to help them engage better with you and be more responsive when you actually ask them to take action on something. And then on day 3, this is where we now combine the offer in with the free information. So we're going to give some more tips on how they can achieve their desired result. And again, this is all going to be very niche specific. So depending on what exactly you're talking about, you can explain how this makes their lives easier, and then that's going to transition you into the offer. So basically, as a general rule, you can say, okay, so I just gave you these tips, but now I want to make it even easier for you. This is how you do it, and then you guide them into your offer. That's a really easy way to make a smooth transition to the sale and get them, and like I said, it's a very subtle way to get them to buy from you. And then in day 4, you're going to continue to discuss their free solution. You're going to outline your your offer in a little more detail, because now we can start talking a little bit more about the sale, because we've already kind of buttered them up a little bit. We've wined and dined them, so now it's okay for us to talk a little bit more of the product that we're trying to sell. And then finally on day 5, you can sum up what your customer would have learned from your free information. You connect it to your offer by saying why your offer makes their lives that much simpler, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And then you're going to send them again to the sales page on that day as well. So as with anything, it's always easier when we have examples. So that's the bare bones of what's going on. Now we're going to show you guys, and then we're actually going to show you guys a template that Debbie actually wrote that's inside of our ScriptDoll system right now. So for those of you that are ScriptDoll subscribers, you actually already have access to this template that you can go in, and all you have to do is once you fill out your profiles, you can very quickly create this email sequence. So that is there and available for you. So going into email 1, as you can see, and you guys will have access to these slides with the replay as well, so you can dive into them a little bit more in depth, just in case I go a little bit too fast describing all these. But I mean, what I want you guys to see in these examples is the first email, we're very much focused on just simply providing them some value, teaching them something. This particular sequence is talking about how comedians have some very good life lessons for business owners. So through each sequence, as Debbie was writing it, she was connecting some very good business tips that comedians could offer. And so in the first email, we just simply talk about anything informational. We're not selling them at all. There's no links to a sale. We're just providing great value. Second email is the same thing. Again, we're connecting how they can, solve a problem that they might be having. Obviously, the sequence is targeted more so for business owners, but we're teaching business owners how to run their business better, and we're giving them more tips on how to do that. And even into our second email, and again, you'll see there is no call to action, there's no sales page. We're not trying to get them to buy anything yet, because we're just trying to engage them in conversation. We're just trying to provide them some value, and we're also training them to open up our emails, because as you'll notice, every email that Debbie wrote in this sequence tells you what's going on tomorrow, so that gives them something to look forward to, so they know that they need to access the next email and when it's going to come. Debbie, this is your sequence, so I don't want to steal the thunder from you. Do you want to add anything for these first 2 emails before I jump into the next part?
No, I mean, basically, my thought behind this, and there's different approaches, obviously. The outline that Kayla showed you like a couple of previous slides ago, that's more like you're gearing up to really, really sell someone something, and that's a sequence, and an amazing sequence that works if you want to put somebody on a path to buy a specific item down the road. And that's why I love email marketing, because there's no rules and regulations or restrictions. So you can have something like this, which is a concept. So it's linking two concepts together, like how comedians are great business people and what entrepreneurs can learn from comedians, right? And in this scenario, I mean, you can offer something, and you always really should offer something in an email, especially if you're taking the time to write a sequence yourself and you ultimately want to call to action, because you don't want to train people. That's another thing. Like, you don't want to train people that, you're the person that just gives all this great information and doesn't sell anything, because that's not good. You want to make money with your list. So these are like, this email is more of like, hey, here's some great information, and also, you want to subtly check this out, and you'll see that later on down the road. So this one is a little bit more subtle, whereas the actual launch sequenced email that we talked about above, that's more like you're going in for the kill. Like, you're here to sell and you're building it up, and you should be pushing that momentum all the way. Whereas this, it's kind of like, yeah, it's laid back. Here's some information. And by the way, we got this great thing going on. So, both scenarios, they work. And obviously, you want to tailor it to how you'll feel comfortable. How's your list? How do they respond to you? Everything like that, that all plays a part in kind of what's going on here. And it's all strategy, So, you're explaining it beautifully, Kayla. Just wanted to kind of point that out, that sometimes like, you want to go in for the kill, and if you want to go in for the kill, that other sequence, that's amazing. This one is like, yeah, we're not doing so much killing. We're just, we're giving an information. We're saying, hey, check this out, type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. No, I mean, this is your baby here, so I don't want to steal your thunder on this one. So
It's all good.
Make sure I'm doing it justice as I go through the example. Cool. So we'll move on. So email number 3 is where we start to actually incorporate the offer. And the reason that this actually looks like the colors and stuff like that is this is actually, I generated this email through ScriptDoll. So we created a profile, and then we actually filled it in. ScriptDoll automatically filled everything inside the email sequence for us, because, like I said, is a template inside of ScriptDoll. So that's why you're seeing everything kind of multicolored here. And it also makes it easier for you guys to see how we're incorporating the offer as well. So email 3, like I said in the outline, is where we tie in the overall lesson, which in this case is how comedians can help show you how to improve your business. And we incorporate that and show them how we can make their life a little bit easier even with the offer. So I want you guys really to pull from this how we very carefully guide people through. Like Debbie said, there's times to go in for the kill. This is not that time. This is where we've taken them by the hand and we've walked them through, given them some great value, and now we're trying to up the value even more by giving them something. So email 3 is where we make the first connection between now I'm trying to sell you something, but by this point their guard should be down and they should be feeling a lot more open and willing to buy from you. So that brings us to email number 4. And again, number 4, we're talking more about the offer and how that's going to make their life easier. And we're just subtly talking about the lesson now. So we want the offer to more so kind of take over on emails 4 and 5, because that's going to be our focus, because we've already kind of babied them through. So now we're going to talk more about the offer. And again, in email 5, it's the same thing. So we kind of do a final sum up of this is exactly what you learned from this email sequence. But if you want to make this even easier, you can actually check this out, and that sends them to the sales page. So that's how we apply the actual outline, like I said. So that pretty much sums that up. So like I said, this is actually inside of ScriptDoll right now. So I'm not sure. I know we do have some ScriptDoll subscribers already on call, but that's the beauty of ScriptDoll is we actually write a lot of these templates, Debbie and I, and we put them inside. So, because it can be a little bit tricky to kind of, when you're not used to writing in this format, because I think it's so easy to fall into a salesy sense. So it takes a different level of kind of thinking about email marketing to get yourself to this point. And that's what we really wanted you guys to take home from the call today. So that's something that Debbie and I are focusing on, getting more into the ScriptDoll templates and stuff, so that when you guys are actually using ScriptDoll, once you create your profile very quickly, you can then insert it into all the templates and create an entire marketing campaign for you guys fast. So if you guys are not already ScriptDoll subscribers, we're going to post in the chat a link where you can grab it right now and get inside. And like I said, ScriptDoll, thanks Debbie, that was really fast. Good reaction time. Like I said, if you guys are not already ScriptDoll members, we highly recommend checking it out. What it's going to do for you is you basically can create a profile with all of your customer and product information, and then from there ScriptDoll pretty much does the rest. And by ScriptDoll, I mean Debbie and I were behind a lot of the templates in there that we write for you guys. So that's kind of a gist of it, and I really want to open up. I'm not sure if you have anything to add to that, Debbie, but I really want to open up for some questions for everybody and what they might have asked us about this topic while we're here.
Yeah, no, great. Great overview. One of the things, though, that I kind of want to point out is that a lot of people, or a lot of marketers, I should say, they don't really use the sequence strategy. And it's a very powerful strategy because it does make the person, more engaged, right? And they're looking forward to what you have to say the next day, as opposed to just saying, hey, this is the product that I have to offer, click on this link right now. So you're actually separating yourself from the rest of the marketers that are out there that are just pushing products. And yeah, they're doing a little bit with what we talked about today and, telling their stories and things like that. But, incorporating this sequence type style is going to, give you that interaction, give you that engagement, give you those open rates that you're really looking for. And the fact that we're, writing the content for you inside of ScriptDoll, where you're just plugging in your profile information, makes it super easy for you, so that you don't really have to go out and do all the research for the information and of what you're going to talk about, things like that, because we're pretty much doing it for you, which is really, really great. And, we're constantly updating our templates and our profiles in there to make it even more easier for you in the long run. And I'm just looking and reading the comments here. People are saying love ScriptDoll, they can't get enough of it. So we're really proud of the program, and we love hearing feedback like this. So awesome. So let's get to some questions here that we have. Do you see any questions here, Kayla, that are popping out?
I'm just going through now. I'm noticing a lot of you talking about being a subscriber and loving ScriptDoll. So that's like super awesome to hear. I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying those. So Stan asks, with the sequence process, at what point in the series does a subscriber typically buy the product? Obviously, it's going to depend on what they're going to react to, but not until email 3, obviously, because up until that point, our goal is solely to engage them. And just to give them some value. We're also trying to show them that we are genuinely able to help. And by doing that legwork ahead of time, we're also what it's going to do is, and a lot of people I think like to jump the gun and like to very quickly sell, and that's why a lot of people don't take the time to do this. But what you're actually doing is you're just kind of like pre-selling people. You're warming them up to the idea that they need this. And by taking the time to actually help people, you're showing them that you have their best interests involved, so that when you do actually sell them a product or sell them an offer, they're going to be a lot more responsive to it, because they already feel like they know that you have their best interests at heart, and that you're likely not going to try to sell them on something if you didn't think it would actually help them. So to answer your question, at what point would they purchase? Obviously not until step 3, but some people need that little bit of extra assurance, which is why we go from day 3 to day 5, continuing to sell them on the product and tying it in and walking them through it.
Yeah.
It's going to depend on your customer. Some people might buy from you right away, and it's going to depend on the customer history because, you guys, if you've, purchased stuff from Dr. Ben, some of you might have been really quick to jump on ScriptDoll because you've been a customer of ours for a long time and you know the quality of product we put out. Where some of you may have never heard of us before, so it took a little bit longer to open up to it. It's the same thing with your own customer base. So there's not really a hard fast rule on that. But hopefully by providing value, you're going to get people who are going to buy from you a lot quicker.
Yeah, and also to that point too is like because it's a sequence, every day you're bringing up something new, right? So you're not talking about the same, bullet point every single day. So maybe the day 3 email didn't really resonate, but the email that you write on day 4, maybe that's gonna get that person to take action, because you're saying something different. You're changing, you know, the content of what you're actually saying, and you're bringing in new information. So that's also going to play a part in how somebody takes action as well.
Yeah, definitely. Debbie, sorry to bother you. Do you mind just throwing, because we have a lot of people asking for slides in the replay, do you mind just throwing the link in the chat really quick on where they can find the replay once we have it live? I do it, but I got my screen up. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. What you're going to do is we usually put them up, put up the replay the next day, so every Friday, and it's on scriptdoll.net. I'm just going to put that right in there. And what you're going to do is on the right-hand side, there's a link that says office hours, and you will find all of the office hours, the previous sessions that we've already done in there, and you will find the one tomorrow too, for today.
I think there's an extra key in that link. We gotta,
Oh,
there we go.
I was writing and talking at the same time, so there you have it.
I think if they actually go to the blog, there we go.
Right. So
oh, good. This is why we work so well together.
Absolutely.
Cool. We had a question about somebody saying that they see a lot of marketers who keep promoting different products every day. Would it be better to promote one product or could keep promoting different products? Again, we get into these awkward gray areas that I always feel bad about. My advice, and I mean kind of following the theme of it, is you have to use your discretion because there's going to be times where maybe that's appropriate. But if you're constantly selling your list and you're not taking any time to do any sort of relationship building, how long are they actually going to stay on your list? And consider how you feel as a customer, because if you subscribe to somebody's list who's just constantly selling you on stuff and they're not actually taking the time to care about you, are you stay on the list for very long? Like think about things like that. You should always, even promoting different products, you should always be making sure that you're giving people a reason to buy from you. Because it's really easy for us as customers to get our backs up, and we don't appreciate when people only want money from us, right? Like just in general. So you want to make sure that you're always taking the time to actually give people a reason to open your emails, and that's why I say either entertain your list or make sure you're solving a problem for them. Give them a reason to actually open your emails and give a crap about what it is you have to say. If you're constantly badgering them with offers, eventually they're going to get pretty sick of you. So that's the kind of thing that you want to think about every time you send out an email to your list. Hopefully that sums that up.
Yeah, and
awesome comments on
yeah. No, I was just gonna say, you lose a little bit of credibility too when you promote too many offers, because obviously you can't be doing everything and recommending everything under the sun, right, to people. So you're gonna lose a lot of credibility if you do that. So if you actually put some time into what you're promoting and reasons why this will be good for people, and you're just not promoting the newest thing under the sun that day, then that's actually showing that you're helping people as well. So
yeah.
But
Bill asked if this email sequence should be inside the context of an overall marketing calendar. Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Bill. I'm giving you a 5-day sequence. But again, you can apply that as you see fit. Your offer may only be a 2-day offer. So in that sense, you may not have the 3 emails on the end to actually send the offer. So what you'd want to do is, try to, pre-mail them and get them excited, provide them some information before the offer opens if it's, a quick sale or something like that. Um, Anything with copywriting, and again, I hate doing this because I feel like it's a little bit overwhelming, but you always have to take it in context of what you're actually doing, and apply it to what you're actually selling. So yeah, you want to make sure that you take into consideration the overall offer and the length of time and all that. The sequence could be easily expanded if you wanted to. But just as kind of a starter, as because like I said, a lot of people don't do this. So what we wanted to give you guys today is something that you can easily take and put into action today if you wanted to. And then from there, once you get comfortable with this idea, then you can start making your own adjustments as you see the response rate from your list. Hope that answers that question.
Yep, and Patty says it's so great that you're continuing to add more to ScriptDoll. Makes it easy to stay a member. Thank you for adding even more value to an amazing product. Thank you so much, Patty, for that feedback.
Yeah, that's awesome. We love seeing stuff like that. That's what's kind of nice about office hours. It's a little ego boost for us. But that's something Debbie and I try to focus on, is always providing really great templates that you guys can actually use, and giving you guys stuff that you might not think about otherwise. Because like I said, this isn't necessarily a popular way that a lot of people go about it. So this is a different approach to email marketing.
Yeah, and somebody brought up headlines too, and these are also, I don't know if you guys, most of you probably know this, but in your autoresponder, there's something called a newsletter, and then there's an autoresponder. So the newsletter is more like, or the broadcast, right, that goes out in real time. And an autoresponder is something that you plug in and it goes out at a specified time, maybe, immediately you give somebody some free content, and then 2 days later you schedule more content, and you can actually schedule these sequences inside of your autoresponder so that they will go out automatically on the time and that you specify. And it's great to do that because it acts like on autopilot, especially if you're selling something that's like more evergreen, that's, that will benefit your customer today and it will benefit your customer 9 months from today. And the nice thing about the headlines is that you can kind of test your headlines out and see the open rates and things like that. And I actually have a couple of these in my autoresponder, and you'd be amazed at the open rates and the click-through rates that when you have this set up, because it just proves everything that we were talking about today on how engaged people are on your list and the fact that they're looking forward to what you have to say the next day. And a lot of the times you'll rarely get unsubscribes if you have these kind of things and sequences set up in your autoresponder, which makes it really powerful for you as a marketer, because then you're not getting unsubscribes and you're providing value. So the point of that was to test different headlines and see which ones are getting better open rates than others, and then you can transform or change them accordingly, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a really good tip, Debbie. I'm glad you shared that with everyone. Looks like you're getting some compliments back on it too, so that's cool. Amy asked about using ScriptDoll for local clients to market their services. Actually, that's what is kind of great about ScriptDoll, is that as you fill out your profiles, you actually dictate to ScriptDoll who you're marketing to. So as you answer the questions about your specific client that you're looking for, you answer those questions, and then you can generate all the templates, and the templates will be populated with all that information. So now you've got an entire campaign of sales copy that you can then use to market their services with. Cool. Well, I mean, that pretty much kind of sums up our time for today. If you guys have more questions, you're always welcome to hit up our help desk, and put the links down in the chat box for you guys. So if you didn't happen to jump in on time, or anybody that had to leave early, you'll be able to see the replay of this webinar there. And for anybody that hasn't already jumped in and tried out ScriptDoll, we also provided the link in the chat box as well. So I really appreciate you guys joining us, and I'm really glad too. We're getting a little bit of feedback, Debbie, on office hours. I'm really glad you guys actually enjoy the content that we share on this. We really like to take the time to share all this stuff. Debbie and I are huge copy nerds, so this is a lot of fun for us to actually get on and talk to you guys about this stuff. So that's all I got. Did you have anything to add before we sign out for today?
No, definitely another great session underneath our belts. And like I said, we're pretty quick to turn around the replay for you guys. And I know we gave a lot of information today and information about ScriptDoll to those of you who aren't members yet. And so I know there are still some outstanding questions that we have here about ScriptDoll. We can definitely answer them. Let me see. There's one more question that it's hard to kind of leave without answering them. Let me see. Claude asks, do you mind elaborating on your profile inside of ScriptDoll? Yep, this will be our last kind of question, and then we'll kind of leave on this. Basically, inside of ScriptDoll, you have profiles and you have templates. And basically, your profile is all the information that you're filling out about your customer and your product and everything that you're offering. So you basically just have to put that in one time and one time only. And then from there, you can generate, gosh, I don't know, how many templates do we have in there, Kayla? Like at this point, like over 20, right? I think. I mean, it could be give or take a couple. And basically, we have them in sections. Like we have email templates, like what we showed you today. This was a template, and all of your information from your profile plugs in to these templates, and it writes your copy for you. And basically, you would then go in and make a couple changes, any changes that you want. And then you're good to go with selling your products. We also have templates like video sales letters, long style sales letters with your written copy. We have, what else do we have in there? I know there's one more thing that I'm probably leaving out. But basically, we're using a template or a strategy or a formula that is designed to sell for you. So that's pretty much the kind of the 100-foot overview of ScriptDoll and what it actually does and the power behind it. And again, Kayla and I are constantly working on that, giving you guys, even more value every single month, going in there and providing more templates, more profiles so that it's easier on you at the end of the day, so that it takes less work and you can focus more on, your selling strategies. You can focus more on the products that you're promoting or even making, and less on that, the stress of writing copy that we all have to go through as marketers. So we want to make that job easier for you. So hopefully I answered that question okay for you, Claude. And thank you everyone for sticking around and hanging out with us. We really, really appreciate your time. And we will see you on the next office hours.
Next office hours is April 23rd, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody there. So thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you April 23rd.
Bye-bye.